How's it going, everybody? Today is day 6 of the build, I think. I'm not actually 100% sure. I did a day 1, 2, and 3. I'm about to recap on day 4 and 5. So yeah, this is day 6 of the build. I don't know about you guys, but when GGG announced the PoE 2 expansion dates as being in 3 weeks from now, I panicked. So I had originally planned to take this character a little bit slow into high tier maps, but then GGG announced that the Druid expansion was coming out at the beginning of December, which means I've only got 3 weeks left on the league. I still have challenges to get done. I usually just do 36 out of 40. I wanted to do 40 out of 40, so what I might end up doing is I'll play PoE 2 and then come back to get 40 out of 40. I should be able to get 36 out of 40 pretty easily before then, but I'm the type of person that typically does like 5 builds a league, and this is only my second build, so we'll see what happens. I want to spend a couple more days on this character. I want to try to take it into Ubers, but I am very far behind on my progression because I've been taking it extremely easy. So anyways, let's talk a little bit about my progression from day 3 to day 4. So on day 4, GGG had not announced PoE 2 yet, so I was still taking it easy. I was trying out a whole bunch of other supports and items. I still stayed on a 5-link, so on the actual 5-link setup, I tried swapping out Deadly Ailments, and I forgot that Deadly Ailments reduces the hit damage, so that ruins your ability to maintain your max fortify stacks. I am anointing Crushing Reply in order to fortify on hit. So I took Deadly Ailments out and I put on Swift Affliction. That works out pretty good. I also started getting more armor pieces. So looking at the PoB, I ended up swapping out the body armor for a much bigger body armor base. I swapped out the boots with a much bigger armor boots along with some implicit, so I don't have the Wanderlust boots anymore. But that's pretty much it in terms of the day 4 gearing. I also tried messing around with different weapons. So on day 3, I said I would swap into the Rebuke of the Vaal, and I was still farming up the Story of the Vaal. I did farm up the Story of the Vaal, and I tried it out, and I wasn't actually impressed with the Story of the Vaal. It's not that bad of a sword, but I don't know, I saw a lot of people using it, so I had made the assumption, which is probably incorrect, that the Story of the Vaal was actually a replacement to Rebuke of the Vaal, but it didn't feel like it. And I was expecting to see more freezes, but even though this weapon says hits from this weapon always ignite, freeze, and shock, it still means that you need to deal cold damage in order to actually freeze enemies. And so since I don't have any cold damage really anywhere, the freezes weren't happening, and I had a bunch of ailment duration. So like if I swap this sword into here, I've only got really a bunch of fizz and fire damage. I don't really have any cold damage in there. So I don't know. I might play around with it a little bit more. Maybe if I get some flat cold damage, I'd see more freezes. I'm not sure. Story of the Vaal ended up being a little bit more of a disappointment. The damage didn't feel that much better, and I wasn't seeing any freezes. I also played around with swapping out the Shaper of Storms and going into Heart of Destruction because the Story of the Vaal has the hits with this weapon. Shock enemies is dealing more damage. I was like, oh, maybe I can maintain high shock stacks or maintain a high shock percentage with that. It still wasn't as good as just having the Shaper of Storms anointed. So I don't know. I'm still going to try playing around with it a little bit more. I got some ideas, but if you have any ideas on how, the differences between Rebuke of the Vaal and Story of the Vaal, I'd like to hear them. Even in PoB says that Rebuke of the Vaal ends up being a better weapon. So I don't know. Let me know if you have any ideas. The last thing that I was messing around with on the day 4 PoB was the defensive layers. So like I said, I started swapping into armor bases, and the big problem that I was having with the swap over was damage over time. This build by default doesn't have a lot of recovery built in, so I was kind of spoiled because my first build was the Holy Relic of Conviction, and Holy Relic of Conviction has the life gain on hit with the Lancing Steel of Spraying, and so that's got a ton of recovery. This build does not have a lot of recovery built in, and so I went patrolling on PoE Ninja to try to figure out what people were doing in terms of solving their recovery. And the main things that I saw were people swapping over to ES on block for their recovery. So a lot of people using Aegis Aurora, a lot of people using Armor Energy Shield with Divine Shield and things like that. So instead of going from these armor bases that I did on day 4, on day 5 I started swapping over to Armor Energy Shield bases and started trying to go down that road of getting Energy Shield on block and also getting Divine Shield in order to try to recover some Energy Shield. Just another layer of defense to see if that ends up being a viable option to maintain my defenses. I'm going to go over the main changes. So on the helmet, I picked up this helmet from the tree, I think. Yeah, this is a tree pickup. I was basically pumping maps, trying to get more Graph Blood and just dropping items on the tree and trying to figure out if I can get a better item. So on the helmet, Armor Energy Shield, this can still be better because it has crafted Armor Energy Shield %. I would want to have the T1 mod on the item and then maybe crafted base defenses. So on the glove slot, exact same story as the helmet slot. So I was just trying to get good defenses, good life, and then some res. So switch to these gloves. In place, it's fire exposure and fire dot multi. And then on the boots, still have the same boots as day 4. So I'm gonna be looking, actually PoB'd these boots and tried to see what would it look like if I had the Armor Energy Shield, and it's not that big of a difference. So I might actually keep these boots here. Body armor, it took quite a few tries on the tree to actually get a 6-link and end up with a Grand Ring Mail. So this can still be better. This is not the best base type. So I will be trying to get a better body armor because I still have, you know, higher tier percentage that I can get on the body armor, plus a bunch of open suffixes everywhere. The shield craft, I'll actually post the clip of getting the shield craft. What I ended up doing was I grabbed a high-level titanium spirit shield. It was just sitting in my stash, and then I started rolling on the Hoarder crafting station, just trying to get good energy shield and a res and a block roll. So I ended up getting the % chance to block and then the T1 energy shield. I'm like, that's not that bad of a shield. And then I had crafted the energy shield on there, and then I was like, well, you know, what I'm gonna end up doing is I'm probably gonna continue harvest re-rolling this, but I did have a Shaper's Exalted Orb. So I was like, oh, let me just go ahead and slam it to get a Shaper Titanium Spirit Shield. And maybe I can roll the dice on actually getting ES on block, and it actually did hit the 5% ES on block. So that's the shield that we're going with right now. I'm gonna try to go get a different shield. I don't have any more Shaper's Exalts, but I'm probably gonna get try to get a high quality Titanium Spirit Shield from the tree, and then hit it with an Exalt, Elder's Exalt, and then I will use my Hoarder crafting station to swap the influence. I think it's 1,000 blue or something. It's 1,000 blue to switch the influence type, try to get it back into Shaper, and then I'll probably get a better Shaper shield. So those are the main changes. Other slots I use to kind of shore up stats. So I grabbed this amulet from my stash. It actually had memory strands on it, and I was hitting it where I was doing Scour and Alk, just trying to get some stats on there. So this actually turned out pretty good. It's got life, some res, the attributes, and then it's actually even got an open suffix here. So I got open suffix here, crafted max ES, don't need the res because if you take a look at my res, fully capped out. I need to rebalance some of my res, probably move some lightning to cold just to keep it even if I get cursed with minus res. So still rocking the max chaos res. Even I'm not max chaos res without the chaos golem. So even though it says 107 chaos res, if the chaos golem dies, I end up having 65 chaos res. So that's why it's a little bit over capped. Chance to block attack and spell damage is still capped there. I'm still trying to figure out if I can get more spell block somehow. But yeah, so that's the current build. So and then on the belt, I was thinking about other things with the belt. I have this crystal belt that I'm going to be playing around with, trying to just replace this leather belt. I was also playing around with the idea of using the Cyrus belt, the Burden of Truth. This might actually be a pretty good belt to use. You lose the life recovery from Flask, like it's got 30% less life recovery, but it does have the increased life recovery, so it kind of like balances itself out. And then what this will do is it'll split my damage between my life and energy shield. But then I'd be, very reliant on the flasks. So I'm not sure if I'm going to use this belt. It did drop for me. It feels like a good option, but I just feel like I should just get a big energy shield belt. So, and then on the tree, I redid the tree quite a bit because I fixed my stats. So, I dropped this, I dropped these 2 points here. And then I also dropped all of this stuff here, and I went into just more defenses. So I moved the max res over here, got some defense here, got some defense here, and then finished out the reservation efficiency. I'm currently running discipline as an aura to try to get more energy shield. Not sure what auras I'm going to try. I don't know if I'm going to keep it like that. Like I said, still a work in progress, and this is only day 6 of the build. So some ideas that I've been kicking around that I've seen people do on PoE Ninja is getting a second curse. So I saw people using Doedri's ring and then using Ellie Weak on top of flammability. Seems pretty standard for any sort of Ignite build. Other ideas, I saw people going Energy Blade, and actually Energy Blade actually ends up being a DPS increase. So at the cost of quite a bit of max hit pool. So if I drop on the day 5 PoB, just the Energy Blade here, you can see I get about 20% DPS increase off of that. So, but at the cost of a significant amount of EHP. So it's not the worst thing in the world. That's just ideas. I did see people playing around with getting Wrath Aura in there. That is also an option if I drop the Discipline. So if I drop Discipline, put the Wrath Aura in there. Still need to figure out how to solve my mana, I guess. I didn't PoB that option very much. I'd probably end up getting like the reservation efficiency, like doing something like that on the next 3 levels, because I'm only level 90. I'm only level 92, so I could do that and then be able to solve my mana on top of also getting a bunch of damage there. So I don't know, just a lot of ideas that I'm kicking around. Build's not anywhere near complete, but I did, like I said, panic when GGG announced the upcoming PoE 2 league, because I will be playing PoE 2. Like I said, I might play it for a couple of weeks and then go back to PoE 1 and play some more builds, because there's still more builds that I would like to play in this league. For those of you who haven't watched me play PoE 2, I do all kinds of different types of builds. The funny thing is with PoE 2, I actually end up making a crossbow build on every ascendancy. Like I played crossbow everything. I played crossbow chronomancer. That was probably the most fun one. So maybe I'll play crossbow druid. Make a video on a crossbow druid. I don't know. We'll see. But anyways, take a look at the PoBs in the description. Check us out on Twitch. I will see you guys later. Let me know if you have any questions. Peace out. Bye-bye.